I'm sure everyone can relate to this feeling. You go on a losing streak, you get 7th or 8th place repeatedly, you start dropping massive amount of LP every single game, and you're wondering, why in the world am I losing so much? It feels like I'm making the right decisions. Maybe it's just RNG. Maybe the game is just being more fair to others than it is to me. Hello everyone, and welcome to their Teamfight Tactics guide. Today, we're gonna cover why you might be losing a lot of matches. I preach this a lot to people who are trying to get better at Teamfight Tactics, but the big things are you have to be playing what the game is giving you, and you have to be playing off the items that make that composition better. But just the other day, I had a viewer ask me, what does it mean to play what the game is giving you? I feel like I'm making great decisions during my game, but I'm still ending up in the last few positions of the game and getting knocked out early. What is going on? Can you help me see the light? Now, they say hindsight is 20/20, but have you ever wondered what would happen if you went back to one of your games and counted every unit that the game gave you during the match to see if you could have made a better composition than the one you ended up making? Yeah, me too. So today I'm gonna cover a game that I played absolutely horrendously. I got knocked out in 7th place. This happens to a lot of people, but I am not proud of this game. I made so many mistakes. My transition was off. The items and units I was picking was bad. But the big thing for me I realized after the match is I played the way that a lot of people who are complaining about not being able to win matches play as well. I started the game, I got a couple Blade Masters, and then just like that, I decided, okay world, I'm going Blade Masters. And the rest of the game, I forced that composition in my mind and ignored what the game was trying to give me because I was so set on getting Blade Masters in the end. I was also giving items for Blade Masters that would have lined up perfectly with the composition, and so I was blind to everything around me. So we're gonna walk back through this game that I lost, going only through the carousels and through the preparation rounds, looking at the units that the game was giving me from a very objective viewpoint, and then counting them all the way up until the end to see if I could have made a better composition or if there were things that the game was trying to give me that I just was not paying attention to whatsoever. So you'll see on the left side of the screen throughout the game, the total count of the amount of times I've seen a unit. Now remember, if I were to pick up these units, the drop rates would change slightly because I was removing stock from the system, but you get the idea. Let's jump right into it. So you'll see on the left side of the screen the total occurrences of the units that I'm seeing in the match and what I could have done with that. So pay attention to any trends that are showing up just by what the game is giving me and see if you could have made a different composition than the one I put out. You'll see in the beginning here, I do get a Fiora and a Camille pretty dang fast, and that's what led me to believe that I was gonna go Blade Masters this game. I also got BF sword here, and then I ended up getting Bloodthirsters and a recurve bow, and so I was like looking for that Drave, and I was looking for a way to transition to that Blade Masters. So far I've got the Lissandra first, then I got 3 Fioras right off the bat, so here's my Fiora 2, and it's making sense to me now. It's starting to click. I've got 2 Camilles. I'm thinking, cool, I'm gonna build Blade Masters off this. The problem is Fiora only lasts a little bit in the beginning of the game. She falls off pretty hard because her damage and HP just doesn't last into stage 2 and stage 3, and Camille as a unit is kind of not that great either. So both these units can be good. It's great to have Camille in a hextech build, but she also as a single unit doesn't last as long as well. So I've got potentially nobles here. I've got the Vayne, I've got the Lucian, I've got the Fiora. I'm deciding whether I want to put it in with just 3 or if I can sell something level here. I could go IE, but I decided that Bloodthirster is a very safe item to pick up. It's pretty easy to put into your build, and it's something that you can actually look to build up here. Now, as I'm watching this back with you, I'm noticing so many sorcerers that are going to start showing up. Twisted Fate, it gave me Lulu a lot. Morgana was in the list a ton as well, and I was just generally ignoring that, going for the build that I had in my mind. I tell a lot of people this all the time, but you kind of have to get it out of your head that you're in charge of what you're going to build. Every game, there's going to be things that become available to you or are easier to build because the game just random meta order, or maybe the other players in the game aren't going that build, and so it becomes very easily available that those units are not being contested, and paying attention to that is something that you have to look out for. So again, I got the 3 Camilles, I've got the 4 Fioras so far, and I'm thinking I can either go Blade Masters, I can go into some kind of Noble Knights build, or maybe I go straight into Knights. Then hits the carousel, and I'm thinking, okay, I have another BF sword. I can go for maybe a Gunblade if I go Shapeshifters. I can maybe go Shojins if I find an Ash. But maybe I'll just pick up another Bloodthirster, and I can actually do Bloodthirster Draven and Bloodthirster Jinx, and then maybe do a Blade Master build or convert Jinx into a Blade Master, trying to get more efficacy off of that. But as we go into round 2-4 after the carousel, you see that I'm starting to get the Tristanas to show up. I had the 2 Graves, but not a whole lot else. But this is where it all started to go downhill for me. You can see that I got the Aatrox. I'm like, cool, I've got 3 Blade Masters. This is going to be so good. But what I see a lot of people doing is they find that synergy and they put out units like I just did that are all 1-star. So Camille, not that great of a unit. Fiora can be good, but still not that great of a unit. And then Aatrox level 1, he's a great unit, but if he's only 1-star and you carry that into later stages of the game, it can be really hard for that to be effective because the 1-star units just don't have enough HP to live long enough on the board to even cast their ability. You want to get a lot of value out of the units that you're putting out. So now the Tristanas are there. I decided to sell those off and get rid of them. There's another Lulu. There's an Ahri and a Kassadin. So again, I could have gone Void Sorks at this point. I could have got the Lulu leveled up potentially. The Kazakhs had 2 as well, and so I have options on top of that. But so far, so good, right? I've taken some damage. A little bit of that was intentional, so I can get to the carousel and pick up another item. I should be able to clear Krugs pretty easily. And then we'll see what items I get out of this battle. I got 1 Lucian so far, not that many, but 2 Ahris, 2 Kassadins, 2 Morganas, which generally you don't want to go for 3 costs this early on in stage 2 because you just don't have the income to keep them up. So there's a tier that dropped. I can make a Shojins if I get an Ash, and I do get an Ash. So that's pretty cool. But there's my 3rd Lulu. So now I'm looking at a possibility of getting Sorcerers on top of that, something that could have worked there. But I've got the Double Knight bonus, I've got the 3 Blade Master bonus, and now I've got the 3 Noble bonus. So this is a pretty decent start. This should balance me out at least until 3-4 when I hit the carousel, or maybe even to Wolves. But the 3 Noble bonus works only if you're going to be getting those 3 units to 2-star pretty darn quickly. So I've got a little bit more of the Graves in there. I've got some Lissandra, the 2, the Darius not showing up as well. So not that many, but there's a Gangplank. So I potentially could have gotten another Blade Master, maybe swap that out for the Camille at level 1. Even the damage that Gangplank does is pretty darn good. But I see the Ash, I see the Braum, I'm thinking, cool, I can get double Glacial, I can make a Shojin for Ash. And generally, if you get double Glacial with a Shojins on Ash or Rage Blade on Ash, she can actually stun enough for you to make it through the mid game. She's a great stopgap for mid game compositions because you'll be able to just get a lot of CC out of it. So another roll here at 3-3. You can see that Lulu's still sitting at 3. The Kazakhs didn't pan out, and I'm not really getting a whole lot of 3s elsewhere. But there's the Ash 3. I've got the Lucian 2, so I can actually pick up a Noble buff on top of that. And Ash plus the Braum is going to be stunning a good bit. At this point in the game at 3-3, I should have been looking for ways to pull the Fiora and the Camille out. Just because they're 2-star, those units aren't really good enough to carry me this far into the game. And this is where things get a little bit interesting because I could have picked up, if I noticed the Sorcerer bonus, I could have picked up the Aurelion Soul with the Rod here. And even though I got double BF sword and a Negatron from the first stage of the game, I could have easily started picking up sorcerer items, more tiers, more needlessly large rods, ways that I can add in Ludens, Morellos, things like that that would have worked for the casters that are coming my way. Another roll, there's another Lulu. I could have gone Brawlers potentially as well because Blitzcrank has been showing up a good bit. There would have been 3 of them by now. Volibear showing up as well. But you can see that I went to the carousel and I was like, I'm going Blade Master, guys. I picked up the Draven. I knew I already had the Bloodthirster, so now I need an RFC and a IE or a Phantom Dance or something to keep him alive. And so I'm like, still in my mind, I've got 3 Blade Masters out there. I've got Draven items. I now have Draven, but the only Draven I've gotten so far has been from that carousel. And then watch the rest of the game to see if I ever get another Draven at all. There's another Gangplank. There's a Poppy. And you can actually see if that I would have been picking up the Lulus and the Poppies and the Kennen, I could have actually made Yordles, which actually works quite well, especially if Poppy or Kennen make their way to 2-star. They're very tanky, and they end up doing a lot of damage to the enemies they're facing. Here's 3-6. I've had 2 Morganas so far. I've had 4 Lulus, 4 Lucians, and 3 Camilles, so I actually do have those leveled up, which is nice. Lucian does give a lot of damage in the game, even without items, so he's a pretty safe unit to pick up there. Another roll, another Lulu, then I rolled again. I got a Poppy, I got a Braum, and then it was a Veigar, so it could have been Yordles if I wanted to go. There's the Gnar, so I could have gotten another Yordle. There's another Kassadin. You see I've gotten 5 Kassadins so far, but I'm still trying to force the Blade Masters. I've gotten 4 Gangplanks, and I haven't picked up a single one of them. I've gotten 1 Shen, 3 Camilles, and then the 5 Fioras, right? So the only thing that I've really gotten that has been useful for Blade Master has been the 3 Camilles and the 3 Fioras. I haven't leveled Aatrox to level 2 yet. I haven't leveled up Shen. I haven't been picking up any of the Gangplanks, and so I've been kind of very heavy-handedly forcing this build, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'm going Blade Master with the Draven carry. I start putting items on the Draven, but he's still 1 star. I'm in stage 4. We're sitting at a level 7. A lot of the other players have builds that are a little bit more balanced, that have high damage output and high stars. I'm now at 45 HP, and I'm still trying to force that Blade Master bonus. Could have picked up the Warwick. There's a possibility, you see the numbers here, I could have gone a little bit more down the Brawler state, but 4 Twisted Fate, 4 Ahri, 4 Morgana, 5 or 6 Lulus, and I'm getting a lot of sorcerers showing up here. Back to the carousel, I could have picked up the Rek'Sai for an extra bonus. I could have gone for the Gnar if I was going Yordles. I could have picked up the Tyr or the Needless Large Rod to get more damage out. If I had picked up the Aurelion Soul with the Rod in the last carousel, then I could have picked up that belt on that Rek'Sai and gone for a Morellos, and I actually would have been in a pretty good spot going for either Void Sorcerer or 6 Sorcerer in the mid game, or even a Yordle Sorcerer, which would have worked out great for me as well. I could have even gone for Shapeshifters, but just Shapeshifters are so awkward right now, and it's hard to get them built up just right. I still have the Camille in there for the Blade Master bonus. I had to sell the Fiora to put the Blade Master onto the Draven. And then you can see that I'm actually going in a direction multiple directions at the same time. This is something I see a lot of players make the mistake of as well. You see I'm holding onto the Garen and the Vayne. I have the Leona and I have the Lucian, and I'm thinking maybe I go Nobles, maybe I go Blade Masters, but there's a lot of money on my bench. There's 4 gold from the Shens, 4 from the Leona, 2 from the Braum, and then another 5 from the 2 Vaynes and the Garen 2 that are just sitting on my bench, not collecting interest, right? And I'm looking around to see what else everyone is going. I'm seeing gunslingers, I'm seeing potentially some nobles on top of that, but realistically, there's another Lulu, there's another Kassadin. The game is trying to tell me that sorcerers are an option, but I'm still thinking towards the Blade Master build. There is the Cho'Gath, actually around Raptors is a little bit late, but I still would have gotten him, so if I wanted to go Void Brawlers or Void Sorcerers, that would have been a very easy transition for me. I have the Camille there, which honestly isn't providing a whole lot. And I know after Raptors, I'm going to have to roll a lot. I'm going to have to roll down almost all this gold and try to find a Draven too. But one thing I didn't check for is how many Dravens are taken away right now across all the other players. I have 23 HP. It's late in the game. A lot of players are losing HP here. I need to do something quick. My build isn't very strong. You can see that I have Gangplank, Leona, Draven, all at 1 star. And then the character that was giving me a bunch of damage, the Braum and the Ashe with the Shojins, I just sold so that I could get 6 Blade Masters on the board. So I got Gangplank, Draven, Shen, Fiora, Aatrox, and Camille. That gives me my 6 Blade Masters. That's the second Draven I've gotten. One of them from the carousel, one I earned through rolling. Now we're at 5-2. I'm broke. I have a very weak build with 1-star units. Nothing really panned out, but look at the left side of the board. 9 Kassadins, 8 Morganas, 7 Lulus, 7 Ahris, 6 Twisted Fates. A bunch of sorcerers and Yordles are showing up, and I've been ignoring them, trying to get the Blade Master build that I've had in my head all game long. And with 2 health left, I might win this round. It looks like I might. Pretty good build up there. And if Leona gets a good stun on that Varus, I might win this. Let's see what the stun does here. The Kale Shield is nice. There's the Leona stun. I really needed that, but looks like this is going to be the end for me, and that's going to be it. I lost the game because I was trying to force a build that didn't pan out, and this is something that I see all the time, and I wanted to use this game as an example for players to realize playing what the game is giving you is a great opportunity for you to be able to pick up some builds that are available within the match. And you almost have to treat each round as if it was a separate puzzle, as if it were something that had just come your way, and you're realizing, okay, what can I do this round that would get me to the next round? especially if you're playing ranked and you know that in ranked, you just have to get in the top 4 to get LP. Playing aggressively or even just playing round by round helps you get into that top 4 without losing too much HP. So I hope this video was useful for you guys. If it was, let me know and I'll do more of them in the future. I just did a quick spreadsheet like I used to do when I was a game designer, just tracking everything throughout the game. And I hope this was insightful as well and helping you realize that there's more options that are available to you each round, and sometimes the direction you thought you were going is not the direction you should be going or the direction that you will end up going. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Be sure to check me out on my live stream, check me out on Instagram, check me out on Twitter, and I'll see you guys in the next one.